Analysts say U.S. President Trump appears optimistic Beijing and Washington will resolve the dispute. Trump used social media to tout his friendship with Chinese President Xi Jinping, stating the two will always be friends no matter what happens with our dispute over trade. In the tweet, Trump also claimed China would ease trade barriers because it's the right thing to do. Beijing turned to the World Trade Organization to question the legality of U.S. tariffs. China and the U.S. are the world's two largest economies. It means dozens of industries could be affected by the escalating trade back and forth. Helping offer further insight is Teng. He's the president of the America-China Public Affairs Institute. Hi there, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you, Susan?
The World Trade Organization's Director General has said a trade war is in no one's interest and that the WTO will be watching the situation very closely. Other than watching, what else can it do to resolve this?
Well, the WTO always say that both sides should settle mutually rather than using the WTO as arbitration. And even if they have a ruling, it's very hard to enforce the judgment.
Well, in your opinion, who has the upper hand at this point?
Well, it seems that from a U.S. perspective, they are upping the ante. And first, they announced the steel and the aluminum tariff, and China also responded with a $3 billion tariff. Then the U.S. slapped on a $50 billion, and China responded. And the latest round is President Trump has talking about another $100 billion, but there's no list yet. The $100 billion will put over the total China's export or U.S. import from China. The China's import from the U.S. is 135 billion. What that does is that if China responds that way, then it's like every product the United States is exporting to China will have a tariff, and I think President Trump will retaliate by having tariff on all 500 billion. But I think China understands that they're probably not going to play that game along that way.
Does it seem irresponsible to you to sort of have this public tit for tat going back and forth because the markets are being affected adversely?
It is very much so, because even though these trade conflict will be eventually resolved, but people in the meantime, if they have a mutual fund, if they have a pension fund, if they need money from their investment in the market, they are being hurt right now. And also their companies, their market capitalization affects the company's borrowing power and so forth.
And it's really a ripple effect in the global market.
Yes. So President Trump cannot claim that there's no effect on the global market. Wherever United States happen, negatively, it affects the whole market. In 2008, we know that for the financial crisis, affect the whole global market as well.
How do you think President Xi is feeling about President Trump's words? At one moment he's saying we won't allow China to keep, robbing the United States, and the next minute he's saying we'll always be friends.
That has been President Trump's personality for the last 50 years of his business practice. He's suing people, and he said that we are still friends. But this is an international arena. I think that President Xi and Chinese government still want to have an amicable resolution or mutually agreed resolution. The United States have issues with China, but China also have issues with the United States. And these kind of issues is best use negotiations rather than slapping tariff on each other.
Well, Teng, president of the America-China Public Affairs Institute, always great to have you. Thank you for coming.